everybody. Welcome back to another stream. Thank you guys for piling in so fast. Good to see everybody. Before we get started, this is not clickbait, guys. Bitcoin is taking off. We've been waiting for this. This is actually a very, very important moment. I'm not going to say that this is the 100% telling moment right here. Things still could happen, all right? But this is the first important moment. We needed to see a break above 50,000. That's what we absolutely needed to see to start getting out of dangerous territory and start heading towards maybe having a more bullish perspective of things to come. And if we did not break 50,000, it was looking like doom and gloom for the next couple weeks here. So, what's going on to the chosen one? Elbosh, what's going on? Hope you're doing good. Byron, what's up? Pump it up, Bitcoin? Yes. Chosen one says we just broke 50. Absolutely. Yep, they are following. Yes, sir. Tito, what's going on? And Byron says, glad I hold my Bitcoin and my Ethereum and all altcoins. So far, it's looking good, guys. And this is pretty exciting news here. I'm not going to lie. Don't forget, if you're just piling in, hit that like button. What I'm going to do, meanwhile, while you're doing that, is throw up a quick poll. That's always a good time. And you guys can let me know how you feel. Just give this about 10 seconds and you'll see the poll there in the chat. Hey, Shuba, what's going on, man? Sorry, that was a little loud. A little excited, guys. My apologies. But hopefully everybody had a pretty decent Monday. Usually this is everyone's least favorite day of the week because it means everybody has to go back to work and their weekend ends. That being said, I'm here to hopefully make you guys feel a little bit better, just like the price action is right now, hopefully. But let's do some technical analysis to get right into this. First thing I'm going to say, guys, there's not a whole lot of news to cover. So over these last couple days, hopefully you guys were in those streams. I explained why we had the sell-off. I explained really that we didn't know which way, based off the news we had, that we were going to go. Because, I mean, it was more of, it's kind of like a 50-50 split. We've got all this bullish momentum. We already know that Bitcoin's in a great spot. We know that over the last couple months, Bitcoin has gotten plenty of good news. Lots of new places accepting Bitcoin as methods of payment, right? So no bearish news there for Bitcoin. In fact, since the last time Bitcoin's been at 50,000, if you go back kind of historically to when it was on the up climb here, going back to well, let's go to the daily time frame. So when Bitcoin first hit these prices, this was in about February of this year. And consider the state that Bitcoin was in February compared to where it is now. I mean, so much has happened since then regarding awareness. I mean, now Bitcoin is a legal tender in multiple countries. So those things were not in the cards when we were in February. People were just jumping onto the crypto train, honestly. And if you knew, you knew, but it wasn't extremely popular. Now we've got Ethereum with NFTs, and I mean, the market has really just developed like crazy since then. But Bitcoin, I mean, if people thought Bitcoin was worth 50K in January and February, I mean, with all the progress that Bitcoin has made and crypto in general has made, certainly Bitcoin's worth more than 50K now. The problem, though, is when people start to get spooked, they will sell their positions. And it really comes down to believing, or your belief on whether or not people will be able to hold these markets up. Because if you start getting bad news like we heard from Evergrande and all this FUD being spread and people starting to get fear that that whales are going to go under and they're going to close their positions, then no one wants to be a part of the crash. We've already seen the market crash. We saw what happened during the pandemic. We saw how everybody panicked and, you know, how we sold off super hard. Nobody wants to be a part of that part two. So, and then we saw us miss some recent price targets here that really, I think, added to the bearishness, the icing on the cake. So I won't ramble on too much about that, guys. If you have questions regarding it, maybe you weren't in those last streams and so you want to know what happened, just ask me and then I'll touch on it. But I'm going to assume you guys were here. And so from a technical analysis perspective, on the 1 minute time frame, things look great. What you can see is this right here is earlier in the day. We're looking at about 10 a.m. We come into noon here. We saw the first move up from 47 to 48. And then a lot of sideways trading, little bits of moves up. You can see how nicely we were just bouncing off the EMAs there, riding the wave up, a little uptrend. Now, one thing I want to notice before we get too far into it, one thing I want to bring out is that I see a lot of you haven't clicked the like button, so please do so if you haven't yet, but that's not it. The one thing that I want to bring out is right here. Look at how, and this is the only reason I really leave the 50 and 100 EMAs up. I only care about the 200 EMA, the red line. The 50 and 100 EMA are going to identify short inner trends, but they're not going to be the main trend. So for example, and this is a little technical analysis 101 for you guys that aren't super into it or proficient with it. If I go to the 200 EMA only, what you can see here is a nice summary. You get a breakout here, big move, swooping move here, pulls back, a bounce, bounce, bounce. Like you see that activity there? But when you bring in the lower time frame EMAs, the next two down, the 100 and the 50, you can see in the middle of these trends kind of where it hit support and resistance along the way. So this big bounce right here, for example, you can break it down and see bounce off the 50, bounce off the 100, bounce off the 50, and these can really just give you some added perspective. And if you weren't in yet and you were looking for another entry, maybe you thought this was going to go parabolic and you wanted to buy a pullback, you could look for a pullback to the 50, or even better, a pullback to the 100 if you didn't think it was going to come to the 200. And those are your inner levels of support and resistance. So it just helps give you some extra, it helps add some color. Another thing is, and this is really important that not a lot of people notice, the main reason I like to keep these bands up is because they always do like an opening and closing motion. Typically you see, and this is going to be really hard to like draw out with my hands, but it'll start with like the 200 EMA, the 100 and the 50 all being together, and then they tend to like go really far apart and they'll get overextended and then they'll come back apart. Sometimes they'll flip directions and they'll do like one of those motions, or just like a bounce, like think of like a dolphin swimming. So as you can see right here, 50 EMA gets really extended. That shows that price action's getting kind of overextended. It's due for a pullback, comes back. We get it consolidating. We get the touch. See, they flipped here and we're still bullish. So then it opens again and then we get really overextended. We need a pullback. You get the pullbacks and it just keeps happening. You see right here, cross. And now we're getting to a point here where, as you can see, these are really getting far away from each other. So that, and you can tell that these are getting pulled up by the price action because these are just average price indicators. They're averaging out different time frames of price action. So this one's averaging out the previous 50. This one's averaging out the previous 100. This one's averaging out the previous 200. And that's why this one's the most conservative. But anyway, there's little price action 101. So what you can even do is take a look at that on like a 30-minute time frame. Look at that summarized, and you can see on the downtrend, the same thing happened. You get the extension, look at the blue line, and then it comes back, closes, goes the other side a little bit, pulls away, gets closer, away, closer, away, closer, away. It always happens. And the further away you start seeing this like short-term time frame EMA get from the red line, the more you know the more extended it's getting, the more likely it is that it's due for a pullback. So that means if you're going to look for a buy-in point and you're looking at your EMA, make sure you're not doing anything at a really weird time where the 50 EMA is nowhere near the 200, because that means you're probably FOMO buying in and it could be a top. So wait for a bigger pullback. And if you miss it, you miss it, but don't do anything ridiculous and then you bought the top. If you were looking, I'm not talking about if you're looking to do a long-term trade. If you're a long-term investor, you don't care about the short-term price action. But if you're looking to get in and get out for a quick move, then you will not be buying when you see this blue line 50 years away from the red. So there's a little quick 101 for you, because here's what's probably going to happen. Most likely, you're looking at this scenario right here. And if you bought right here, then you were buying in right at the top before the pullback. Anyway, back to it. Regular programming. What's going on, Shuba? Byron says, hope it's not a fake out. I'm losing hope already and about to hit the sell button. Uh-oh. Well, let's talk about the potential that it's a fake out, because it's really important to consider. What's going on, Jonathan? Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you, man. Mariano, my man. Good to see you, big dog. Good to see you too, Rafi. Hey, what's up, Noah? Barco says, I think it's going to go up quite a bit and then go flat for a couple days, and then we're going to go parabolic. I like that. I like that. What's up, Rick? Good to see you again. And what's up, Skydive and Joseph? Joseph says, my biggest fear right now is we go up to 53 to fill the gap and drop back down, finishing the head and shoulders that's potentially forming on the daily. I'm with you there too. That is the other scenario. Chosen says, Byron, don't hit the sell button. We're literally at the bottom. Just be patient. And hey, what's going on to everybody else piling in? So quick look at the charts. The third options always mess up my poll. Maybe I should. It's funny, but then I never get a good percentage. But anyway, the question I asked in the poll here was, do you think this is it and we're headed up? We had 56% so far say yes to the moon. 22% says no, I think we'll sell off soon, so more people bullish than bearish. And then 22% just said Dogecoin. They picked option 3. Now, I'm going to assume most of those people are bullish, because if you're feeling like let's pick Dogecoin, you're probably bullish. So I'm going to say it's probably about 70 to 30 right now, with most people bullish. So, everybody, welcome to the stream. If you're just piling in, are we going to go any higher? We just broke out, as you can see here, all this hype, as we got this bullish crossover of EMAs here on the short time frame. Nice little moves up, and then once we broke above this point right around 49.5, you can see all the accumulating hype kick in here, maybe some whale buy-ins too, and then we just rocketed past the 50k level of resistance. Now, if you don't recall, 50,000 was an extremely strong level, and we did blow through it on the way down due to a lot of different things, but it was going to be really hard to get through on the way up. That being said, just in one quick easy move, we were able to cut through it like butter. And here we are sitting here at 50,500 when we did spike at about 51. So a little bit of a bump, a little bit of a pullback. Now, this is the daily time frame. It's not quite as exciting to look at, but it's really important to take a step back so you can see all the important price action to map out a new or your next level of support or resistance. So I'm going to delete some of these unnecessary lines. And you can see what I'm going to leave is this $53,000 level. Now, as you can see, Joseph in the chat, he's already on it. He already knows where I'm going with this. 53,000 is the next major level up. So as you can see here, tons of support here, a little bit here, right here, and here at 53,000. Move over to some more recent. It was actually the peak for resistance before the big sell-off. We see some accumulating right here. We had the green candle come up, pull back to 53, consolidation before the next move. And then here, before the big crash, where did we pull back to? 53,000. Before the bounce, came back to 53, failed it, and dumped. So obviously 53,000 is a technical level that all the technical traders are looking at as a sign. They're looking for a sign. If we are below 53,000, we're probably in a bad spot, especially if we're under 50. And then if we're above 53,000 and we're holding at like 54, 55, and so on and so forth, there's a high chance we'll continue to the upside. So make $53,000 your next target. Everybody should be thinking Bitcoin 53 or higher, good. Bitcoin under 53, but Bitcoin above 50, good sign. We're headed in the right direction. The main fear was that we were not even going to break above 50,000 here, which is why this is super exciting. Here was the negative scenario. After all that we've been through here, and this is really going back all time on Bitcoin here, a bird's eye view. After all we've been through, the big ups, the big downs, we sat here from May to about September, then the big ups again. After all we've been through, if we can sell off this hard and come all the way back down into this territory, it's probably bad news, because everyone was convinced that this was just a little setback, a pullback based off the worst possible news, and here we are ready to continue the bull run and go to 100K and beyond. So if that's proven to be false and we can sell off from these new highs and still make our way all the way back down to that original bearish territory, then maybe they read the charts wrong. This wasn't just a pullback, but now instead we've got a double top here. Now, the new way to look at this chart would be, this was really a double top, showing that this was the peak for now, and now we're going to do the real pullback and end up back down here before we get some more movement and another bounce. That's the concern. That's what we don't want to play out. So this sell-off here spooked everybody into feeling like, should I sell? Should I sell? Dogecoin dropped all the way down to 13 cents. Over the last night, it's been sitting at around 16 to 18, which is actually pretty good. ADA is down at like 120, 130, 140. Ethereum sold off down to under 4,000, actually went near 3,000 flat. And then you can just go down the altcoin list. SHIB was down at about 3,000. You know, everything sold off super hard. All the gains were erased. So now, what we absolutely need to see, or needed to see, was Bitcoin show enough strength, at the very least, to get us back above the $50,000 level of resistance. If it did not get us above 50,000, that meant we were too weak to even make this little move here, and we were just going to do one of these and probably head back down to 42. And if we sold off under 40, then a chain reaction could start. That could start a whole bear cycle. So that's why this is so exciting. Now what we're getting is some confirmation that we are at least a little more bullish than we thought over the last day or two, because we could break above 50, and actually we just shot up straight to 51,000. And that's on Bitcoin, by the way. I don't hold any Bitcoin, but I do know Bitcoin's the market leader. And so when I'm looking at the things I care about, like Dogecoin, if I'm trading Shiba Inu, if I'm looking at ADA, Ethereum, or whatever, Bitcoin's the one I want to follow, because no matter what, unless those altcoins have extremely good or extremely bad news, they are just going to default to following what Bitcoin does. It is like the parent. So now if we take a look at Doge, we can see nice bounce here. Really good look for Dogecoin. It did have that second pullback, like I said, to about 16 cents, but now it's following Bitcoin on this exciting move up, and it just peaked at about 18 cents again. So that was nice. Cardano is sitting here at 141. It had pulled back to 122 and then again to 125. Second big dip chance. Now it's at 141. Good stuff. 10% move up there off that bounce. And then we can look at Ethereum. I'm going to guess about 40. Oh, it's a little lower than I thought. I was expecting like 45, but it's at 44, 43.50, which is pretty decent as well. So we made it past target number 1. Now it's all about staying above 50,000 and heading to target number 2. And again, target number 2 is 53,000. Because here's what can still happen, and this is just keeping it realistic, though I am excited. We need to stay above this support, and then we can consolidate, we can do whatever in the world we want to do here for the next hours, days, whatever. We need to stay in this area and not lose it, and then work on breaking above the next area. If we can get into this territory here, 53 to 57, we're probably in good shape. And that should indicate that this was just a pullback. If you bought the dip, you're going to be really, really happy. And now we're on to bigger and better things. But because this is still such a strong level, and honestly 53,000 is stronger than 50 was there, if we get stopped out at 53 and we do like a double top at 53 or a triple top at 53 and we can't break above, then we will not be in such good shape anymore. But as you can see, going all the way up to about the 30-minute time frame, we are in the clear. Look at the EMAs there, the 100, the 50, and the 200, and look at where the price is in comparison. On the 1 minute time frame, we broke above all supports and resistances there with the EMAs. 2 minute time frame, we're above. 3 minute, we're above. 5 minute, we're above. 10 minute, we're bullish and above. Way not even close. 15 minutes, we're above all of them. And 30 minutes, we just broke through. When we broke through 50,000, we just broke through the 200 EMA on the 30, which only leaves us with time frames that, if we're talking about the ones people really care about, it's just going to be the 4 hour and the daily. On the daily, we're still above the 200, but on the 4 hour, we've got a lot of work to do. And as you can see, this 50 EMA here on the 4 hour time frame, which is the main time frame, by the way, 4 hour interval time frame is the one that institutional investors usually use, and also whales. So you can see we've got double resistance at 53, because not only is that strong level based off just the wicks, the price candles, not only is that sitting at 53, but also the 50 EMA is hovering at 52.8, which is basically 53. So we're going to have to get through two levels of resistance just to pass that price there. So it's going to be tricky, but this candle right here, this momentum, is a great sign. Don't forget, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Welcome. Glad to have you, and we'd love to see you in the next streams as well. We are not done here, but give me just 1 second. And while I'm doing this, maybe you'll consider also hitting the like button for the stream. Do appreciate it. Let me know in the chat. Well, first of all, answer the poll if you haven't. That's the easiest way to give your feedback. It's right there in the comment section. But also let me know in the chat how you're feeling. Do you think we're going up? Do you think we're going down from here? Do you think we're going to just stall out and not even make it to 53 and sell off? Do you think we'll hit 53, do some bouncing around, and then dump? Do you still think a crash is coming? Or do you think we're going to break above 53, be in the clear, and you're feeling super bullish? So that's one thing I want to know from each of you, how you're feeling there. Secondly, I'd like to know what you're holding. Are you holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, ADA Sol, or some different altcoins? And yeah, I'd love to know what your stance is with your position right now. Like, are you holding a lot because you're feeling bullish, you're buying dips, or are you a little scared, you've been selling your position off? Like, let me know, each one of you, I'm curious, what are you guys doing right now? Thank you for being patient with me there. All right, so Peter says, and welcome to the stream, Peter. Peter says, also take into account the special parameters of Bitcoin, limited number of coins and block halvings. Exactly. And that's why when we're talking about like Bitcoin price projections and all that, Bitcoin's just different than every other project out there for the most part, except for like Avalanche, kind of has some similarities. But when we're talking about reasons for Bitcoin to go down, sure. When we're talking about reasons for Bitcoin to go up, I mean, it's just not like any other project. We've got the those parameters that Peter was talking about, like the halvings, the mining, you know, how mining difficulty increases, and how the rewards become less and less and less over time. So really, like the supply gets reduced, the demand increases, and it's just the way that Bitcoin's set up. It's just hyper deflationary to increase in value over time, and it's almost unstoppable. And if you just let Bitcoin idle for the rest of time, the value would just keep inclining, even if it got no new catalysts. So that's why I'm always bullish on Bitcoin. At the same time, though, there are, just like this surprise happened here, I'm not writing off the possibility that we could do a bigger pullback. But when you look at this from this perspective, and we're on the weekly time frame, from a really bullish angle, we could actually just keep riding this 50 EMA on the way up, because you can see here this dip was actually a clean bounce down to the 50 EMA with a couple rejection wicks here on the bottom each time that we touched 28, 29. And look, we rejected out of that area each time, and then we moved up some more. Healthy pullback, could be a healthy pullback just to the 50 EMA yet again, and then we just keep moving on. Or then you've got another scenario here where instead we do bounce up to 53K and we stall out, and then you've got that head and shoulders that no one's going to want to see right here, and it would almost be too clean, to be honest. Then you got that head and shoulders. We hit 53, and then that just signifies big downtrend coming. Everybody's going to panic. So, are we going up now? Good question. Hey, what's going on, Artful? Hope you're doing good. I'm doing all right. Thank you. And I'm a little excited. I'm just glad to see that we broke 50,000, guys. I'm glad. And my stance on whether to buy or not is still the same. Anytime I see Dogecoin under 25, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like, you know, this could be a dip buy. But of course, I'm going to wait for the best opportunities. What are the best opportunities that I always see? Dogecoin 19, but really even better, any chance at Dogecoin 16 or lower. And then by lower, I'm talking Dogecoin 13, because I like, you know, every 3 cents is a pretty good spot. The thing about averaging down or DCAing, you want it to be deliberate when you're investing. You don't want to just keep throwing money in at random times. Oh, the price looks low, I'm just going to throw some more in. You can throw some more in. Like, you can do that if your plan is just long-term invest and you're just going to put in as much money as you can and you just fully believe in the project. And so your plan is just load up every paycheck that comes in, put this percentage in, and just get a bigger position. That's one way to do it. But if you're trying to be a little more strategic, you will map out price targets where you see areas of value in each area. And so, you know, in this general area, like 20 to 25, my area value is like 19 to 21 cents. Below that, in this area, 16 to 19, I like to get right around 16 or 17 cents. And these are just different levels because there's support here at 16, support here at 19, support here at 13. So I want to buy as close to those supports as I can. And if I'm really far away, then I almost feel like I'm buying at resistance until we clear to the next area and we hold above that. Just think about it like floors. This is first floor, second floor, third floor, and I'm always trying to buy closer to the floor than the ceiling of each level. Barco says I'm holding a lot of DOT and SHIB, and I'm not selling anytime soon. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Good diamond handage there. Doge since 2013 and some altcoins, one HNT and ADA. Cool. Well, hopefully you've got a good amount of Dogecoin. If you're holding since 2013, you've probably got a big bag because Doge was super cheap then. Rafi says major holdings in SHIB and CRO. Good. Got a few other altcoins, but just holding and buying dips. No selling over here. Cool. By the way, guys, thank you. I'm glad that Rafi said that. I've been meaning to mention this the last couple streams, but I forgot. CRO, in my opinion, we are nearing the buy zone for CRO again, and that is going to be Crypto.com's token. All right, so let's go trading view. And I just want to show you guys this. Hopefully they have the chart. Yes. So, as you guys know, CRO is the token for Crypto.com, and it was sitting here at about 25 cents when they launched. It moved up to like 30, whatever. The reason that CRO token spiked to about $1 here is because Crypto.com bought out the Staples Center, and they rebranded it to the Crypto.com Arena, or the Crypto Arena, which is absolutely massive for branding purposes. And everybody got super excited about that. That's actually a really big deal. And so their token went to the moon. I do not think that CRO is done. Now, I did say, just like anything, once you understand the psychology of how price action works, you can figure, just like our Dogecoin target is $1, and just like when it was 4 cents, the target was 10 cents. Now we broke into like 10, 20, 30 cents, and the price target's $1. You can assume the same thing here. So CRO, when it started to break out, price target was $1, and just like I thought with Dogecoin, it did not quite hit. It got very close, but everyone sold. All right, and the pullback naturally is going to be like a quarter of the way down, but really halfway down. Halfway down, everyone's like, oh my goodness, I can get this half off. That's probably where the bounce is going to be, especially if there's any previous support. And so when that first happened, I think on Twitter, I can't remember, Twitter or Discord group, I mentioned CRO 50 cents. That would be my dip buy spot. That would be where I decide to buy in. And if it overshot and it went down to like 40s, because hard selling off down into 50 as people panic, if it went 40s, like 40 to 50, that's the money spot right there, because you can expect, there's an overreaction to the upside. People sell off and start to panic. There's an overreaction to the downside, and then you'll probably get at least one more bounce. So I'm thinking there'll be a bounce to like 75, 80 again for sure, even if they don't get any more news. And that's just because people buying the dip and seeing value in it and thinking, oh, well, it went this high. If I can get it cheap, it'll probably go that high again. And so you see like just a spring, a bounce effect there. And here we went right on the sell-off down to 50 cents. That's where it found support with a little overshoot down to 48. And if you look left, you see there is actually support in this area as well. So textbook sell-off here, great bounce. 60 cents is a little high for me for CRO, but if it was a long-term hold and I believed in the project, I would still buy it here. But obviously, if I'm looking for that dip buy, I'd want like 50, 80 cents is probably where it could stall out. And so to maximize my profit, I'd want to have it right here. But to be honest, I signed up for Crypto.com when it was still about 20 cents. So I still have my bonus I can claim, and it's a couple $100, so I might do that and get the card. But anyway, guys, that was a quick TA on CRO. Right now, CRO, in my opinion, very close to the buy spot, maybe even a buy spot if you believe in the project and are willing to take a little bit of risk. Just a couple cents away from the key support. Dan Vieira says he's holding Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and SHIB, buying the dip. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Artful says, are we headed for a global crash? We will crash, in my opinion. We will crash if we bounce off 53, head back down under 50, and then start moving towards 48 and 47 again. I think we could see a global crash if that happens. Now, a crypto market crash if that happens. Will we see a global crash? That's going to be more directly tied to... Now, the stock market's also struggling equally here because of the Fed's tapering news. And that could cause crypto to sell off as well because it's still messing with people's money. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It could cause some problems, I'll say that much. Jonathan says, hey, Skydive. Nice. Rick Cogswell says, coins that he's holding: Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoins, 4 ETH, 100,000 Doge, 5K XLM, 3K CRO token, 100 ADA. That's a pretty light ADA position. 20 Litecoin, 300 million SHIB, and a mix of high-risk coins. Wow. Rick's got the bag right there. That's like $100-something thousand of coins. Like 120. What's going on? But that's a nice portfolio. Look at that, guys. All that money that Rick could have YOLO'd into one asset, $120,000 into Doge because Doge is going to the moon. Did he do it? No. Diversified a portfolio there. And that is the way to do it. If you've really got the money to diversify, 2 Bitcoins. That means when Bitcoin hits $100,000 each, which could happen early next year, that $100,000 position is going to be a $200,000 position. And then there's just $100,000 of free money to go diversify even more and invest in the next best thing. That's from one. And then the Ethereum, for Ethereum. Right now, Ethereum's about $4,000. Next year, Ethereum will probably be $12,000 by mid next year, especially close to ETH2. And so that's going to be 3 to 4x current. 100,000 Doge. When Doge hits $1, that's $100,000, right? And so on and so forth. So that's great. Glad to hear it. Even dipped into the SHIB pool, which and 300 million SHIB, nice conservative amount, but just in case that puppy takes off one day, that could be a nice bag. Very, very nice portfolio there. A lot of self-discipline. So, Bitcoin you bought cheap at 16,000. Wow. You taught me that. Oh, I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, guys, I don't want to be overly bearish. I think I got all the bearish vibes out over the last couple streams, and hopefully you guys kind of understood the concern that I had there. But there's 2 different angles to it all, and there usually is. And at this point, we had bad news, but it just wasn't. It was to be determined which direction people would choose to go. And what we saw here, big pullback. Hang on. Big pullback, right? Massive pullback, bounce, another pullback. Things didn't look so good, but we broke up and we're starting to break above support lines. We're starting to hold. I would just say, don't get too excited and do anything crazy. Don't go buying in on leverage right now on Doge 20x, Bitcoin 100x leverage right now, thinking, because we broke 50K, we're absolutely going to the moon and this is now the new dip. I would feel a little bit more comfortable. I would maybe consider adding to my position just in case we're going to keep moving up. But Dogecoin is still at 17 cents. Ethereum is still at a dip. ADA is still super short, down there at like 140. And Bitcoin has barely moved too. So play it slow and really keep your eyes peeled for 53,000 and above. I think that's really the safe spot. In my opinion, this is the way I look at it. I would rather buy when I know Bitcoin is not going to dump at $54,000 when Dogecoin is about $19.50, maybe close to 20 cents, and still get in in the teens, then buy a whole lot, like 100% all in right now on Doge at 17.7, and then see a pull back to 12 and have no more money to buy the dip because I YOLO'd all in at 17. So just play it slow. But by all means, if you're feeling good right now, maybe buy a little more. I wouldn't be against that at all, but just be careful. We passed one level. The main level is still to come at 53. Rafi says, what do you think about Mark Zuckerberg's sister commenting that SHIB is now mainstream? I mean, SHIB is mainstream. I would agree with that. I think everyone that now knows about Doge kind of knows about SHIB. And that's just, word of mouth community getting word out, just like with Dogecoin. But they are just different projects. And I think, if you know. If you know why they're different, and one is angled to do one thing and kind of take over the world, whereas the other is literally, it's a decentralized exchange with a blockchain. I mean, they're just not the same. And though, I mean, the difference with SHIB and other decentralized exchanges and blockchains, though, is the community it has behind it, the desire to really grow and, push. You've got all these people excited about it. You've got all these people firmly believing it can go to the moon and 5x even from here, 10x, 20x from here, even 100x from here. And then you've got the community actively helping the project work towards that, getting word out, getting on Robinhood, accept us, get us on there, and really driving and pushing towards the next catalyst. So that's the difference between something like SHIB and Uniswap or something similar. At the same time, though, Dogecoin is a currency that's literally meant to, if all goes well, possibly take over as the new standardized method of payment. That, it'll be a common name in everyone's mouth, Dogecoin. I went to Walmart, I paid in cash. Oh, cool, I paid in Dogecoin. Oh, okay. They have a discount. If you pay with Dogecoin, you get 25% off because it's cheaper and they don't have to pay as many credit card fees, so they're passing on savings down to the buyer. Not 25, probably like 2%. I mean, that's the goal. Dogecoin to be the standard retail method of payment across the United States and across the globe eventually. Whereas Shiba Inu, I mean, it's on the Ethereum network, which is running on Ethereum 1 right now. We already know gas fees are ridiculous. No one's going to be buying and selling things for SHIB unless it's NFTs and people are down to pay $700 per transaction. But if you go to Walmart, you're not paying with SHIB. If you go to AMC, you're not going to want to pay for a $15 movie ticket and have to pay the Ethereum miners $500 to make that go through. And then if you don't do that, you have to deal with layer 2 solutions just as a workaround. So that's the problem with SHIB as a method of payment right now. ETH1 is a setback. And then what really is SHIB? I mean, its main thing is Shiba Swap. Other than it just being a meme coin with absolutely no value and having a quadrillion tokens, its main thing is Shiba Swap, and they have a token burn. That's really the main thing. It's just not the same as Doge. So, yes, I think Shiba Inu is mainstream in that a lot of people know about it now, but long term, like, I would be more enthusiastic just about Dogecoin's future than SHIB's. Unless SHIB branched off and figured out a way that it could be a better retail coin than Dogecoin. But again, Ethereum is a setback. Peter says the concerns are totally valid. We are in peak negative news and Evergrande is ongoing, but I would not sell any coins. The hodler's market could flip the dependency to fiat. No, I'm right there with you, Peter. I feel the same exact way. Like this for me is a good average downtime. If you are not broke, like if you've got money on the sidelines to where you can ride this dip out, even if we do pull back. You've got enough to where you could buy the dip and feel comfortable just doing that. I would do that because the prices we just bought at are still good long term. As long as you still believe in crypto and your own project and you haven't lost faith in it and you feel comfortable that it's going to bounce back, why sell what you bought on sale when you could just buy more at a better sale? And then when everything recovers, you've got all these coins at a great value. Because when you sell, you risk being wrong. So what if you sold at a good price and then you're wrong and then the price goes up and now you're sitting there having to buy back and you end up at a loss? It's just way riskier to overdo it. That's why I always encourage people, especially if you're relatively new and your goal is not to be a scalper or day trader. That's not your goal. Your goal is just to make money and not have to stare at the charts all day and expose yourselves to improper feelings, noob trader psychology. The less trades you make, the more likely you are to be profitable. The less you do, honestly, literally the less you do, the more likely you are to come out on top. If you overdo it and you keep staring at the chart and you're using the 1 minute time frame, and every move you try and buy the little bottom here at this support, you sell this resistance. Oh, if I do that 100 times, I made $1,000. Like, you will not be right every time, and you will mess it up. I've tried it before. It does not work, because then your feelings get involved, and then you see a big green candle move it up to 51, and you're like, wow, that big green candle, what if that one looks like it's going to keep going? I'm not even going to sell. Next thing you know, it dumped, and then it's right here, and you're like, oh, well, that's support. Surely I don't have to sell, right? It's going to bounce. Then it doesn't, and then it comes down to here. And you're like, crap, I guess I was completely wrong. So then you sell, and then there's the random buy back up. It just does not work. Keep it simple. Buy low, sell high, plan in advance what you're going to do next if something happens, and that's it. Simple strategy. What's my personal strategy for selling? Honestly, I go into every project that I invest in already having an exit strategy, and it just depends on what asset that it is. Because what I'll do is figure out what's the price that most people like. What's the target price? Like, for example, when people were buying into Cardano, I did like a social sentiment gauge, a social sentiment check, and everybody was talking about, I think Cardano could get to 3. I really think it could get to 3. You go in Weeble's chat, which is a bad place to be, by the way. You go in there briefly, and everyone's talking about Cardano to 3, Cardano to 3, to 3. All streamers and everybody else, everyone's price target is $3. So if you know, hang on. Trying to coordinate my food order here. I have not eaten today. So everyone's talking about ADA to 3, right? So we know that 3 is where everyone's going to take profit. And while the price is here at 180, and everyone's like, I think we can get to 2, and then we break 2, and everyone's like, well, 3 is really, what's going to happen with all this great news, smart contracts, and whatnot going live. So I usually set my price target a little below that, because you can safely assume that whenever everyone has the same goal, it's probably not going to hit, because everyone's going to start taking profit in that general area, and some people are going to probably try and make sure they sell early so that they get filled. And so a $3 price target, I'd probably set it at like $2.90 and just forget the extra 10 cents, especially if I bought super cheap, like 180s, 190s, or low 2s. I'm going to just sacrifice that 10 cents and have a price target to where I know it's going to hit comfortably, and I know I'm going to get filled, and then I could just move on to the next thing with my sweet profit and not have any negative feelings. Because if I greed for the extra 5 to 10 cents and I don't get filled and then it sells off, and now I have a choice of either holding for and hope it happens again, or selling at 257, I'm going to be pretty upset. When I could have sold at 290, but I greeded 10 cents and I lost 40, right? I'm going to be pretty mad. So I would in advance set my price target 285, 290, and that's what I'm looking for. And then that's it. If I know that I want it to be a shorter term trade and I don't want to wait, then I'm just going to look and try and identify, well, what's the next main price target that this thing's going to hit where I can get out. So like for right now, if I'm looking at if I was trying to trade Dogecoin, so I know $1 is what everyone talks about. Are we going to hit $1? We will probably do what CRO did and get to like 97, 98 cents, and then it'll start to pull back before $1 hits. So my price target would probably be sell at like 90 or 92, not even close. Make sure I get out. If I want to do a shorter term trade, then I'd probably look at what are the main levels that Dogecoin has hit before, and I could probably sell somewhere around there. So I know off memory and looking here, honestly, 30 cents is a pretty big one. And I also know that from buying here, if I get to about 30, 32 cents, I'm doubling my money, because I'm like 15, 16 cents. Double that's going to be about 30, 31, 32. So I would probably set my price target somewhere around 30. But knowing that 30 is the actual resistance here, maybe I should say I'll get out safe at maybe 27 or 28. And that'll be my sell area. Once 27, 28 comes, I'll take a look at how the momentum is at 27. If it looks super strong, we're still pushing up hard, no signs of selling off, maybe I'll wait that extra cent or two. But if I see we just are just making it up, I'm selling right at my price target. But the key is look at the charts, gauge the sentiment, take a look at what everyone else is thinking we're going to do, and, you know, analyze for yourself based off the news that's going to get us there. Do I think we're actually going to hit? If so, set your price target to exit, and then when the time comes, execute it. That's where everyone else goes wrong. It's not so much being able to look at the chart and read support and resistance. Like, that's easy. And if it was that simple, everyone would succeed. If everyone could just look at this chart and say, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here, buy here, sell here. But no one does it. You got to make the plan and then execute it. So that's really the key. It's funny because it has been low for days now and people become accustomed to the low price. They feel like 17 cents is too high. Exactly. Then 2 weeks from now, they're going to be kicking themselves. Man, that's what I say all the time. And that's why I always say plan in advance, because emotions are what kills everyone. Like, if trading was super simple, everyone would be successful. But instead, only like 2% of traders actually usually come out on top. They usually say about 98%. Some studies say 98% of traders are not profitable. Like, they fail and they give up. Oh, we got a new member. Let's see. It does not show me who that new member was. Viewer activity. Interesting. Well, the sound effect went off. Maybe someone renewed their membership, but if you just subscribed as a member of the channel, please let me know in the chat. And welcome to the channel. Thank you. And I'll get you a link for the Discord group. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so trading, I mean, it's just not that simple. You have to plan in advance. Where do you think the price is going to fall to? And what for you would be a good dip? If you're trying to buy towards the bottom, what number would you be happy with? Even if it's not the exact bottom, even if you planned Dogecoin 1450, that would be what you're happy with, and Doge ends up going to 1301 like it did. You have to, in your head, already have a price that you feel like, man, if I could just buy it there, as long as it bounces back up, I still got value, and that's where I'd be happy with. Pick that price in advance. When the time comes, as long as things don't look absolutely terrible, execute. Get that confirmation that we found support, that we're not going to keep dumping, because, I mean, don't execute your plan if it's obviously wrong. You know what I mean? Like, if your plan was to buy, if it went under 20, was to buy 1930, and you see whales selling off, bad news coming in, I mean, don't catch the falling knife there. But when it stabilizes, execute your plan. Because what ends up happening, and this has probably happened, I've been streaming near daily. I mean, the last month or two, it's been less than daily, but overall, near every day since May until now, covering cryptocurrency. There's been so many people, maybe even some that are in the chat right now, that have done the exact same thing over and over and over again. I've seen it so many times. They say, man, if only I could get, like, the price takes off. And they're like, man, if only we could get a dip back to 16 cents. I'd buy that up in a heartbeat. If only we could get 19 again, man. And they have all these super low dream price targets. The time comes and, like, should I buy? Should I buy? I'm not buying. I'm going to wait till we get 13. Oh, well, I'm going to wait till we hit 9. And then it takes off again. And like, man, I should have bought. And then now we have the dip again. And here's everyone. Should I buy? Should I do it? You know, you got to execute sometimes. It's okay to be wrong. As long as you trade properly and you scale in, you don't just YOLO all in at any given point. And honestly, never just all in. That's how you save yourself. You need to allow yourself some opportunity to trade properly and potentially be wrong, and if you are wrong, correct it. It's not about just being right every time. Never happens. It's impossible. What's going on, Carlo? And thank you all for the subs. I know a couple of you have subscribed today, so I do appreciate it. I didn't get notifications. That means your settings are on private, which is fine. So I just wanted to thank you guys, since it didn't pop up. The Chosen One says, I practice scalping every day basically on paper trading accounts and TradingView. I love it. I've gotten to the point where I'm able to make 100 a day on most days. Awesome. When I have enough confidence, I'll move on to real money. There you go. And that's great. That means you're getting the concept down. What ends up happening is people start using their own money, and the emotions that sometimes don't kick in with paper trading because it's not yours and you know it's not real. The emotions start to kick in. You start getting excited, or you start getting frustrated. Right? And then you start doing stuff that you wouldn't normally do. And you start saying, well, and then you get these price targets like, oh man, I want to make 10% today. I need to make 10% today. And then you start forcing trades that you shouldn't. And then you're down. You lost all your profit for the day. And then you keep trading. And now you're in the red. And, it'll happen. But that's awesome. That means you're really getting the hang of it. And hopefully you succeed there. I'm assuming you're trading the stock market, or are you using like Webull paper trading to try crypto? Just a quick update while he answers that, and hopefully, I know I talked off topic a bit, guys, but just wanted to give a good variety of information here for anybody curious. That's what we tend to do anyway. But as you can see here on Bitcoin, nice move up to 51 on the 30-minute time frame. This is the 200 EMA. It's going to be some resistance there. Rejection wick, consolidating. A pullback here is not the end of the world. I mean, if we pull back to 50 or 49 again, that's fine. The goal is really to stay above 49,000 and make a bounce back up. So this line, not too concerned about this. So if we can just stay above this red line at 49,000 and continue heading in that 50,000 plus direction, and just give like a $1,000 buffer to not get faked out, I think we're in good shape. Our goal is really just to not pull back very far below 50K, and the 50K not become resistance again, but become more of a support. So maybe I'll just draw a box here, make it less confusing. That's the dip range. If we start coming back into this area and below, then we probably have an issue. Any other questions or anything, guys? Again, thank you for all the support over the last couple days. We've had some really good streams here. The engagement's been pretty high. Everybody's been clicking the like button, which means we've been getting a lot of people getting referred to the stream, new people, which is awesome. And then also been getting some good subs, so that's cool. That means more people, more questions, more things for me to talk about, and then you guys get more answers, because I can't always think of what to talk about. You guys sometimes drive the stream, so I do appreciate it. Right. Well, I'm going to assume that's about it. It's gotten pretty quiet. So thank you guys for hanging out yet again. Oh, he responded. But yeah, I learned a lot about being patient and controlling my emotions. When I first started, I would get so mad every day, even though I know it's fake money. I just take it really seriously. I was the same way too, so I understand. But hey, man, super glad that that's working out. And keep it up. Just a recap on the poll. I'm going to go ahead and end it so you can see the results. It's right there in the chat, and if anyone missed it, right now we've got about 54% that say we're going to the moon. Just still about 20 that say they think we're going to crash, and then another 20 that say Dogecoin. So I'm going to add those to the bullish category and say we're still about 70-30, which is great. That's from about 40 votes. So we'll see what happens. Just keep your eye on the charts. As long as we stay above like 49, 49.5, and really even better above 50, I think we're in good shape. Just keep a close eye on what happens at 53. If anything, that could be a potential sell point if you're looking to scalp, because we know that's a hard resistance right around where this 200 EMA is on like the 1 hour time frame, or where the 50 is on the 4 hour, however you want to look at it, like 52.7. Keep an eye on that area. Doge prediction a year and now. Last question from John. Depends on if Elon Musk follows through with Doge for Tesla And if Robinhood wallets go well, if everything goes according to plan, Doge could be beyond $1 by this time next year. And honestly, closer to 150 or maybe even 2 if things continue to snowball in the right direction. And maybe even more than that. It really depends on adoption, because what I've always said, there's not enough Dogecoin to go around. There just isn't, even though the circulating supply looks high. If Doge takes over as a currency and most people have Doge in their portfolio, there's not even enough Doge coins for, at this price, people to have $10 worth, every single person in the United States. There's not enough coins for it. So if you do the math on population and price, how many coins it would take to have $10 right now, that'd be about 40, and then circulating supply. So if there's enough demand for it, Doge could really end up being, kind of like Bitcoin, in that there's not enough, people want it, and the value of it goes up over time. So Doge, even though we look at market caps now and we think that because of Ethereum and Bitcoin's market cap that Doge is kind of held back, if Doge has that kind of demand, then maybe it'll be even higher than we expect. So it could be 1 to 2, or it could be 2 to 5, and who knows. A year is just a little too far out, though, for me to give something accurate. That's just speculation at that point. But I do think by Q1 next year, we could be above 50 cents and towards $1. That's as far out as I can look at this time. Take it easy, Mario. Appreciate it, Kid Wilson. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it. 53K. Keep an eye out on the top side. If you're looking to scalp, that could be a sell area, 52.7-ish to 53K. If you're looking to hold, obviously, just buy more. And then on the downside, if you're looking out for a crash, we don't want to fall under 47. If we do, timber, and I'll be back live.